like to talk to you for a few minutes today about peer review. I know that many students don't like peer review. I hear that all the time. I hear primarily some students, of course, are shy. They just, don't like the criticism. I understand that. Or they're shy. They just don't want to expose their writing, their thinking to anybody else. They just don't want anybody else to know. So it's kind of a combination of shyness and privacy. And I respect that, all right? That's, of course, a valid issue. And then another valid issue is that many students report they just get very little help, right? That they just don't get much in the way of comments that they feel are very helpful. So that's real common. So I want to assure you that if you have those feelings, those are normal feelings, all right? So that said, I'd like to point out that in the first place, all writers need readers, okay? You need to understand that you have an audience. That's this entire concept of audience, and that the audience is not me. I'm a composition instructor. I'm not your typical reader, all right? Readers are usually your peers, all right? They're equally as well versed in the subject as you are. You just happen to spend more time with it, okay? And also, peers are friendly, all right? They genuinely want to know what you're thinking. They want to know what's going on. They want to be reading this. That's why they're reading. All right. So all writers need readers. You don't write in a vacuum. It's a peer review gives you a reader that you can visualize. You can visualize your peers. All right. And then the other thing, speaking of peers, is that you guys learn as much from each other as you learn from me. Now, I'm basically just yakking at you, and I'm trying to point you in the right direction. But real learning theory shows that real learning takes place among you all when you transfer ideas back and forth and you brainstorm things when you work together. That's where the real learning is occurring, okay? And then the other thing to point out is that all writing is a draft, right? You're never done, unfortunately, all right? And I know you feel that way sometimes, but you absolutely never, ever, ever turn in your first pass through on any writing. It's not just a matter of proofreading it, okay? It's a matter of letting it sit for a little bit, like, fine beer, fine wine, fine cheese, right? It gets a little older, better. All right, and what happens is you let it sit, and then you come back and look at it and say, oh my gosh, how can I make this more friendly to the reader? What can I do? I'm not just talking about proofreading mistakes and typos and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about kind of these lapses in your leaps of thought where you thought you were being clear to the reader, but when you look at it again, you say, oh, no, the reader can't possibly see what I mean here. Okay, so it's all about showing your reader what you mean, and that takes some time, and your first pass through isn't ever good enough. So never, ever think of turning in your first draft to anybody, okay? Particularly to me. It really kind of ticks me off, all right? So that said, in the peer review process, the way I've constructed is I cause you to use the same rubric that I use when I assess your paper, okay? And a rubric is not just an assessment tool, it's a learning tool. By causing you to use it in peer review, I'm showing you how you can learn from the rubric. All right, I have the different categories. I have the different ways that you rate if something's, average or better than average or excellent or below average, okay? And I have the different criteria that make up a good essay. And so as you use it to apply it to your peers, you're also, inside your own head, applying it to yourself. You're understanding the criteria more thoroughly. You're understanding exactly what I mean more thoroughly when I say, hey, do things this way, okay? And as you get familiar with the rubric by using it over and over again with your peers, your own writing, therefore, becomes more in tune, in line with this learning tool, okay, this teaching and learning tool. So you use the rubric, and that's going to help you, not just help your peers, but it's help yourself. The point with peer review is not just to help your peers, it's to help yourself. You know good writing when you see it, okay? You know bad writing when you see it. So I'm exposing you through your peers to a variety of writing, so it's as much for you as it is for your peers, okay? Now, speaking of your peers, you got to use the rubric, all right, and apply that. You can also make comments, all right? And the concept here is be nice. First of all, come out and say what you like about the essay, or find something you like. Say that. That's just good strategy. Then after that, be firm. I always get comments. Nobody really helped me. Everybody's just too polite, Don't do that. Start off, find something you like. You like the topic, if nothing else, say, oh, you got an interesting topic. I learned a lot from this. But I couldn't see what you mean in this paragraph, and I think you're wandering some of the other paragraphs, and if you look at the rubric, you'll see that you're not doing the essay constructed quite the way that, you want to in order to get a good grade on it, that kind of thing. So I think as you do this, you kind of more deeply probe the peer review process, and hopefully the way I've structured it, you'll find out that it's useful, and you'll find out that it's fun.